Okay, so we had talked about, I guess, a few days ago about putting some kind of UI on the contract we were working with earlier, and I started thinking about that. And if you recall, we did some stuff with Drizzle. The nice thing also is Drizzle has React integration. Let me see. They have the truffle boxes, and we were able to do. Let me bring that up instead because it's a lot nicer than with what I was playing for the pure React. Because those are our options basically. Um, let me see if I can bring this up. Oh, you're seeing it. So you can see this gives you a very nice interface without a whole lot of work. And if we can integrate that with React, that would give us, because what I'm thinking of is if you think the way when I ran that contract, how it ran, basically what we were doing is going from step to step to step. Uh, you create the contract, you um, got each side approved it, the, the work was completed, the person approved the work, and then paid for the work. So this would, if I'm thinking you maybe some kind of trying to think what would be the best way to do this. Basically, depending on it would have to know who was logged on to it, and then based on that and based on the state, it would have to tell you, bring up the appropriate screen in the next step. Because we were doing that all manually, and I'm thinking that's could be pretty interesting. So I connect through an account. As you can see here, this is one of my test accounts, and you chose you that. So if I change test accounts, because let me see which test account that is. I'm just curious. I think that is, yeah, that's the first test account. So it's grabbing the initial one. What I want is to grab it from the account in MetaMask. I'm curious about something. Now I'm going to try something. I am going to bring up MetaMask, and I have account 3 on here. And if you look, let's see something. What's account 2? Account 2 is this one. So that's interesting. What we want is to somehow, if MetaMask is active, have it connect through, or have it tell MetaMask, talk to, get the account from the active account in MetaMask, the connected account in MetaMask. And based on that, and based on the state of the contract, it should then go to the appropriate page. So that's going to be the challenge. I guess the first thing that we have to look at is how do you get information out of MetaMask when you're doing a DApp like this, when you're trying to create a, get an active account, because let me check something here. Let me see something, okay, this is, let me open the right file and just have a quick look. Yeah, this is not the one from Drizzle. So I'm going to look at Drizzle, and okay, I think what I need to look at is, if you look at the Drizzle app, there's a file called My Component, and yeah, it's account index. So this is just taking the account index of all the accounts of the chain that it's connected to. So if I went in and changed the active account to the index of 1, it would get a different thing. So the question is, how do we get that information? I mean, how do we indicate who is the one connecting? And that's, once we have that, and we know if it's the provider or the customer, we can, and what state it's in, because if you remember that, let me bring it up, see if I can bring it up here. Yeah, I was playing with this. Let me make sure you're seeing what I want you to see. Yeah, you are. Good, good, good. So it was being a little uncooperative. I was trying to connect to it locally, and I swore I've done that before. So if you go in to our contract here, let's see what we were looking at. So you have this whole thing with set terms, set cost, get terms, get cost, but you have approved contract, and that has to be done by both parties and before the service is provided. Then the consumer has to approve the service, and once they do that, they have to pay for the service. And if you recall, the paying for the service has to come from the contract. So when you go to do the pay service, you let's see, you have to actually, if you know, see if we can do a quick I don't know if it's going to cooperate, but since I haven't compiled it in a while, and deploying it on, yep. So I'm going to deploy it. Oh, I have to give a bunch of stuff. Okay, that's right. It needed a bunch of stuff, but when it comes back, it's going to have a red button in the deployed contracts, and that's going to indicate that you have to give it ether. So you have to have ether in the account, and the beauty of Ganache when you're developing is it provides you a whole bunch of, like 10 accounts that have ether in them, which makes it very easy. You don't have to worry about somehow finding a faucet and putting it in. So obviously this is totally local, and so you're always deploying to your local chain. And eventually you're going to have to, if you're going to really put this out there, a contract out there, they have test nets for that. But anyway, so some of the considerations, so the whole concept is, and maybe I need to draw this out, is based on the state, because we have, let's see, the contract does have state values, right? So those values have to, it's going to keep track of those, and that's how it's going to know whether, what you can do, who should be, what you should be seeing, and that's how we're going to have to do it. So this could be rather tricky, and this is not going to be something that's done in a day. This is going to take some, a little bit of work here, especially since my programming strength is back end. I've done remix on, several occasions, but would not call myself a remix expert. I can deal with it if I'm, if I have to, but I'm certainly not a remix whiz. But the nice thing with Drizzle is Drizzle has a bunch of built-in stuff. Let's see. Let me see something. If I can pull what we got going here in here. Yeah, I want to show you this. Okay. So let's see if I can show you that. You know what? I'm going to do it in this one down here. And let's move this down, make it, there you go. But you can see, if you're using Drizzle, basically what you do, it kind of knows almost. It has a bunch of code built in, because you're including, let's see, where does it show that? Yeah, you're including Drizzle. And what you're going to, and that has a whole bunch of stuff in it, so you can get things like, let's see, account. So and things of that nature. It can get all the, like here, your account, it can get account stuff. It can, if you give it the contract, you can tell it the method, and you can tell it, like here, you got contract data, and let's see, method transfer labels, and it'll create what you want based on what's stored in the contract. So it can kind of read the contract and parse things out for you. And trying to see, let's see see if I can get it to get back to where we were. Let's see. This should. I'm trying to show and hide windows here. It's kind of not. Well, at any rate, when we look at the Drizzle contract, it does have ways of submitting information. Let's go back here. Single device, let's see. H2 strong. Yeah, so it knows, it doesn't, it will put, if it's supposed to submit something, it'll put the button there for you. So anyway, this is what we're thinking about, and we're gonna put it together and come up with some design, some idea of what this UI is going to look like. Again, I have to figure out how to get the active account, and my guess is using the MetaMask is the best way to do it, because I can connect, and whatever's connected I could grab the active account. I know some weirdness when I try to run the straight Reactjs version from that truffle box. It brings up MetaMask in a very weird way that's hard to read. Could be the browser, it could be, you know, this particular machine does not have a fancy graphic card. It just has a real basic one, because basically it's a refurbished business computer that I put some extra memory in and added a hard drive to, and that's essentially what it is. So it does not have a Radeon or an NVIDIA or any of that stuff. What would be interesting, what would be interesting is trying to do this sort of thing. Instead of running, you know, this thing, try it on something like an NVIDIA, was it the Jetson Nano? It's a little less expensive than the Jetson, was it Xavier, which is like $400 or something like that. The Nano, the newer Nanos, you can get a full kit with a case and all the rest of it for less than $200, so much less expensive way to go. And of course, though they run Linux, and they run, you know, it's an AI designed processing, so you basically can have multiple threads. Anyway, if you're curious about the Jetson Nano, there's a gentleman named Paul McWhorter who did an excellent series on that. He's done a lot of tech stuff, so look him up if you want to learn more about the Jetson Nano. But that might be fun to play with some things here. Anyway, I'm rambling a little bit, so hopefully this has been helpful, and I will speak to you next time. Please give a like if you found it helpful. Please subscribe. Please ring the bell. Please tell your friends who might be interested. And take care.